Hey, and welcome to another Brad Tragick video. And this is a total wrestling madness. And I know, I don't know if that video ever got recorded, but I know I said that I was going to not do much wrestling-related stuff. Trying to focus more on getting viewers to view this. But, hell with it. I'm not getting many viewers at all anyway, so whatever. If you don't want to listen to it, then just go on to another channel. That's all I gotta say about that. But I want to talk about wrestling. Yeah, I mean, I got 30 minutes to do it. Welcome back to another Spreaker video. And if you just got done listening to the 14 bands, you're like, well, what the hell are you going to talk about now? You're talking about music? So you're not going to talk about pro wrestling? Exactly. That's what I'm going to do. So, I want to get right into it. Induction to the Hall of Fame. Let's talk about who's on there. The Ultimate Warrior. Big shocker. I thought it was a big shocker. Talk about the Ultimate Warrior. The next thing, we got Lita. Jake the Snake Roberts. Paul Bearer announced a couple weeks ago. And now this week, Carlos Colon. Now, I'm going to be quite honest. You're always going to get those people who you really didn't really hear of. They're kind of older wrestlers that they're going to induct into the Hall of Fame. Carlos Colon is probably one of them. You hear people talk about him all the time. Carlito's dad, Primo's dad. You always hear people talk about him, but you're like, well, they haven't really shown any footage. Or they haven't. I've never seen a match of him. So how can you get behind him? How can you be excited for that guy? But I think with the WWE Network, it's going to be a little different. So when they announced him on Raw, I'm sure a lot of his matches came pop. I'm assuming you probably search for some of his stuff on there. If not, in the future, you're probably going to see his stuff on there, especially anything he probably had in the WWE, WWF, whatever. You could probably look up. Well, I know he's in the '93 Rumble. I think they said he was in there briefly. Probably was thrown out immediately. But I remember him coming out. I can't picture what he looks like, to be quite honest. I didn't get to see Raw this week, so I'm just reading results to know what happened. But Wrestlemania looking pretty good this year. The only downfall, no CM Punk so far. Kind of sad. Kind of hope something happens before WrestleMania, that they can come to a deal, come to an understanding, come to an agreement, what to do with that. You can only imagine. You can only imagine. But he had to take his walk, and just like Austin did when they wanted him to lose to Brock Lesnar. I think Austin even said it. I read something. I listened to something about. Well, if I can get something right, Austin maybe talked about it. And he said, I had my time. And he said he said he made a mistake because he left a lot of money on the table at the time that he could have made if he would have stayed. So I hope, and he said, Punk, I hope he gets something figured out and is able to come to a reconciliation with WWE, and hope they can work something out, because it really does. I'm sure that he made decent money in WWE. I know his probably stories and things like that, he wasn't happy about them, but I mean, even just to say, hey, I need a vacation because I don't think you're writing me very well, hey, do something like that. Like, don't just go to him and say, hey, you're not going to make me world champion, or I'm not going to headline WrestleMania. I think that, whatever, I'm not happy with that, and then say, I'm going to quit. That's just kind of ridiculous in a way, but I understand where he's coming from, and I understand why he's mad. Just the same how Austin walked out because they wanted him to lose to Brock Lesnar, and, really there wasn't a story behind it, and it wasn't, it's not worth it. It kind of goes back as well to another one that I heard, that Raven and Sabu never worked each other for the longest time, but when they did work each other, it was in TNA, and then it really wasn't even worth the time to build up, because it really, I don't know, it probably wasn't worth watching, because the time had gone away so far, they waited too long. WWE couldn't do it justice, because they wouldn't let them do what they wanted to do, and when it finally got to TNA, it's just like, well, probably just nobody cares now, so yeah. Man. Woo. So, on with the show. WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. Main event. Right? Nope. I kind of hope they do. But the thing about it is, you heard Batista said, I wanted to headline one more WrestleMania. And he keeps on mentioning headline. And then you're like, no! Batista versus Randy Orton? The main event for WrestleMania 30? If you would have told me 5 years ago what would be the main event for WrestleMania 30, I would have to insert John Cena. Will have to be in there. He has to be in there. Nope, not in there. I would probably would have said Randy Orton, but it was going to have to be somebody big, like The Undertaker or something. Undertaker, that name would have came up. It has to be one of those guys. I would have said possibly, maybe The Rock. Maybe Brock Lesnar would be in the main event. Never in a million years would I say, yeah, it would be a good idea. Bring back Batista and have him or Randy Orton be in the main event of WrestleMania 30. What in the holy hell was Vince thinking when he thought, I think Batista and Randy Orton would be a hell of a match at WrestleMania 30. And I'm not just doing this because of the Daniel Bryan crap. Take that. I don't care who would have won the Royal Rumble. It doesn't really matter to me. Anything could have been better than Batista. I mean, really, I would rather have seen Randy Orton versus CM Punk. And even that kind of, still not a big main event match at WrestleMania 30. Not even Randy Orton and John Cena could have been. I honestly think the best course of action that should have happened this year would have seen The Undertaker take on Randy Orton at WrestleMania 30. That would have been a legitimate match at WrestleMania 30. Or, something to the effect of Triple H versus Randy Orton. That's even a better match than what this is. I mean, Batista, you take Batista out, you put Triple H, that makes a big difference. Whether people like Triple H or not, that is a main event match for WrestleMania 30. You want to talk about passing the torch, that's kind of passing the torch. But if you're going to have WrestleMania 30, it should be a kind of a pass the torch match, and it should have been, a CM Punk. It should have been a Daniel Bryan. To have that moment at WrestleMania to win the World Championship, Punk's had his winning match, but he's never had a moment at WrestleMania, and I think that's what he's pissed about. He wants his moment. And that I can't argue with him, because he hasn't really had that moment. Jericho with him, not a good match, but not a moment. He had a match with The Undertaker last year. It was amazing. It was incredible. I got to see it, but I hear so much about it, it's got to be good. But did he have that moment yet? Not really. So I can understand why he's pissed and why he just doesn't want to be in the company anymore. I think until they agree that, they're going to put him in a big match, he's not going to come back. Because he wants to have that defining moment at WrestleMania. I can almost guarantee that he probably won't come back until next year around WrestleMania to guarantee that he's going to get a good spot at WrestleMania. He's going to come right in. They're going to give him, either a big match at WrestleMania to have a good moment or something, It's got to be something. It's got to give somewhere. Because they know that they want CM Punk, and they're getting CM Punk chants throughout the building, and they're not going to stop the fans from, chanting CM Punk during this whole entire year. It's going to be just as bad as the Daniel Bryan chants, I think, this year. With that being said, Daniel Bryan versus Triple H, and they just added the stipulation that if Daniel Bryan wins, he'll get a shot at the world title that same night. So that makes it a little bit more exciting at WrestleMania 30, but it kind of leads me to believe that Triple H might end up saying, well, if I win, I get a shot at the world title at WrestleMania. And that would be incredible. Now, either way, if one of them goes and ends up being in the main event, I think that would be awesome. But I think going back to who could be in the main event of WrestleMania 30, if they have some of those matches and say, hey, if you win, you're in the main event of WrestleMania 30, and then John Cena says, well, I want to be in the main event of WrestleMania 30. If he wins against Bray Wyatt, he goes in. If Bray Wyatt, he goes in. That's the kind of thing I think we kind of need this year. Because it's kind of a weird year not having Punk. And people are mad because, they don't have Punk. And Bryan's not in the main event yet. Because I honestly think Daniel Bryan won't win a WrestleMania. I want to think that he's going to win. But everything in my head is saying, no, Triple H is going to win. Somehow they're going to screw him or something. That he's going to win by DQ. And that's going to be the loophole that, Triple H is going to say, if you read your contract, you would have said you had to pin me or make me submit, or so and so forth, but it's going to end up in a screw job ending, and he's going to win that way. So, I don't know. That's what I think something's going to happen. Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, I like Brock Lesnar, but I don't think Taker's going to lose a streak this year. I think he's going to go with it intact, but it's going to be a hell of a match. I've never seen the match with Taker and Lesnar, and when I get the WWE Network eventually, I haven't got it yet. I'm going to have to check out that match from 2002. I think they fought each other at SummerSlam, I think, and they had a good story going on. I think that was when, Undertaker's wife was in there briefly. I don't think he's married to her anymore. I don't know. Sarah. I think he's married to Michelle McCool now. But anyway, but when Sarah was there, and she was briefly in a storyline, that was when he was wrestling. He was wrestling as a biker Taker, and they had a decent match. Now, this is as a dead man, so this will be a little different, but I think the style will basically be the same, and I think they'll play a really, really good story out with that. Randy Orton, Batista, I really don't care. Either way, it's going to be stupid. If Bryan ends up being in it, it'll be a little bit better. But ultimately, it's going to be a crap fest, and it's not going to matter who walks out the champion or not. And they made a mistake when they had Batista win the Royal Rumble. It's just, I don't know if that was the thing that made or broke the deal with Batista, but if it was, then baloney. He just blew up WrestleMania, Batista, if that was the case. Not a very good idea to have him win. It's going to make the freaking main event for WrestleMania horrible. What I've seen Batista, he looks rusty. He doesn't look very good in the ring. He wrestles crappy. Him and Del Rio. It could have been Del Rio and the freaking midget from freaking El Torito's, whatever the name of that tag team is. Could have been that midget bull, whatever. Del Rio and him could have put on a better match than that freaking him and Batista. I mean, really, it was horrible. It was stupid, and I don't like it at all. Let me say. Other than that, what other match they got on? John Cena, Bray Wyatt. That'll be a pretty damn good match. I haven't seen any escalation to the point of if there's any stipulation, but I hope that there's stipulation involved. If there's a stipulation involved, it'll be a good match. I'm kind of hoping for like a no-holds-barred or pinfall counts anywhere in the building. That would be interesting. I would love to see that. If they did that, it would make that match epic. It would make that match something to be remembered, because I think that they could do a hell of a match. And if John Cena's truly injured, like they're trying to act like he is, that'd be the way he could pull it off and still wrestle, injured somewhat. And then, I don't know what the world they're doing. Why at the WrestleMania 30 would you waste it on a Battle Royal? Really? This better be a damn yearly thing or something, because this is retarded. They're having the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal. So stupid. I'm sorry. I am not one to have a Battle Royal at WrestleMania. I liked the idea. I think at WrestleMania 2000, I think it was, they had the gimmick Battle Royal, and that was entertaining because it'd been a while since those crazy gimmicks were in the ring. Now it's just stupid. Now they're going to have a Battle Royal for no reason for a dumb trophy of Andre the Giant. I like Andre the Giant. No offense to Andre the Giant, but this has nothing to do with Andre the Giant. They just want to have a stupid Battle Royal at WrestleMania, and it's dumb. A way to get people on the card and get their payday at WrestleMania 30. That's what it is. That's what it is, to be quite honest. And all you're going to see is a bunch of no-namers in that Battle Royal to get a spot at WrestleMania. That's what it's going to basically be. The women's division, not looking too good this year. I think 2014 might be a good year for them, though. It looks like it's starting to pick up a little bit better. I think they just need to get rid of the baby dolls. They just need to. I'm sorry. It's ridiculous. And they talked about how Trish Stratus is one of those that started it. But Trish Stratus could wrestle, unlike these other girls. Even she had those moments where you're like, oh, the match is horrible. Ugh. But at least she could half-ass wrestle, and some of these girl wrestles, I can't talk at all tonight. Some of these girls in there, they look horrible. They look like they just got in the ring like 2 days ago, and they just learned like how to hip toss or something, It's like, really? It's like, they are horrendous. It's like, why are they in the ring? Like, WWE is supposed to be the top product, in wrestling. And then you're looking at these girls who mess up 2 or 3 times during the match. The same girl, too. And then you get another girl tags in, and she's doing the same thing on the opposite team, and you're like, this is ridiculous. Like, they shouldn't have these girls in the ring if they don't understand. If they haven't wrestled, they should be wrestling live shows until they get what the hell they should be doing in the ring. You know, they shouldn't even be on Raw if they don't know how to wrestle, you know. I would rather stick with watching AJ Styles and one of the freaking Funkadactyls, which Funkadactyls are horrible too. I can't stand them in the ring. I don't think they're that good either. They can't wrestle, and that's what my point is. They need to have women wrestlers. Hence the term for the championship. The Divas Champion. Well, Divas Champion kind of redirects the term, but yeah, I don't like the Divas Championship, because ever since they did that, I was like, oh, we're never going to see a woman wrestler again in WWE. All they're going to do is get baby dolls, or whatever you want to call them, models, girl models as wrestlers, and it's sad. It's sad. Hopefully they do away with it at some point in the future, or at least kind of whittle them down a little bit, because they've got a lot right now, and it's just ridiculous. It's like, yeah, I know they're hot, but that can only get you so far, and then they're just like, oh, fuck it. This is ridiculous. I can't even sit through a match, and it's so bad. WWE has ruined me so bad for women's matches that anytime I see a woman wrestle in the ring, I fast forward it. TNA, I know that they wrestle probably good, but I can't stand it because WWE has ruined it for me, so I just fast forward it. You know, it's just, oh, man, it just makes me want to, like, scream when I see women wrestling now. I just go, turn it. You know, and I think one night they had, like, 2 matches on Raw, and I'm like, really? 2 women matches? It's like, you can't even put 1 on good. Why would you put 2 on there? It's ridiculous. Yeah, but I think that's all the matches for WrestleMania that they have. Thinking of any others, I'm drawing a blank. Oh, we're probably going to get Usos versus New Age Outlaws. That'll probably be a good match. I don't think it'll be a bad match at all. It may stink up the joint a little bit, I think, but it'll be entertaining. You know, I kind of hope, like I said, either John Cena or this match, or the Usos and the Outlaws, I think should be a street fight, something like that. You know, Usos will win the straps at WrestleMania. They'll give them that moment. Which if I was CM Punk, I'd be at home cussing at the TV when that happens. Because, like, you can't give me a damn moment? Come on! You give Usos a moment? Really? That was a weird sound. Anyway, TNA and ROH. I want to talk about that real quick. I was watching ROH for a little bit. I currently got rid of my cable. Yeah. If no one understands now, it's like you turn on TV, there's nothing to watch anymore. So I want to talk about that briefly. But wrestling is basically the only thing that, you know, yeah, you have to watch TNA, and you have to watch ROH, and ROH is one of those that, you know, you can watch online, but you have to pay a fee, and I don't know even what happened with that, if you can still do that or not. But TNA, I know you can watch, like, highlights on YouTube, and, you know, ROH, you could probably watch highlights, too. I just gotta find out where to watch it online, and I will have somewhere to watch those. But ROH, I'm tremendous. I've seen AJ Styles there. I've watched his debut. Chris Hero, I am not impressed with Chris Hero. Maybe somebody can tell me a good match to watch of his to make me go, oh, you know. But every time I've seen him in the ring, I'm just like, dude, this guy blows ass. Like, I don't see what the point people see in him. People were talking to me. I hear so much about him, about, oh, he's so great with the Kings of Wrestling, blah, 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 blah. And call me wrong, but was Cesaro with him? Were they the Kings of Wrestling, or who was the King of Wrestling with him? I'm not sure. I'm unsure of who was the Kings of Wrestling. Make a comment down below if you can tell me. And tell me a good match Chris Hero was in that I can watch on YouTube or something, because I think he's crap. I don't know why he's there. And I think that he's probably will end up in TNA probably before the end of the year, probably. Because I see that they'll probably snatch him up and probably try and take him on if he's so good. That or ROH won't want him, or they'll keep him under the wing anyway, because they're crazy and have stupid people under their umbrella anyway. But I did get to see them boys. What's their last names? The Briscoes. There you go, the Briscoes. Pretty awesome. I like them. Haven't seen that much of them yet, but I enjoy them so far. Pretty amazing stuff. I think the looks is what keeps them from going to one of the big two. But I think eventually they'll have no choice but to bring him in because they're going to be way, way popular very, very soon. And kind of the one guy that was world champion briefly, he kind of reminds me of like a Stone Cold character that he could come in and be that guy. There won't be another Attitude Era, but he'll be the guy that people are like, oh no, don't give him a live mic, kind of like a Scott Hall character or, the franchise that they were afraid to give him a live mic. And they could play that off as a storyline, and it would get over pretty well. But I could see them bringing him in and having, his brother as like a manager or some kind of thing like that, because they probably wouldn't want him as a wrestler because he's pretty crazy in the ring. But who knows? He may end up in WWE someday. Knowing that they're so big, and Vince is now like big old online guy, that he's now going online with WWE Network, which leads me to the final comments. And I'm going to end this video a little short because I really don't have much to talk about. TNA, I'm not even going to bother going into. Magnus is the fucking world champ. That's all I'm going to say. Sorry, but yes, Magnus is the fucking world champ. Really? Really, TNA? And he beat Samoa Joe at Lockdown. Fucking ridiculous. I am never going to watch that program probably again. I will keep tabs on it just to know what the hell's going on. But Jesus Christ, man. That's just ridiculous. That's like me saying, oh, Fandango should be the World Heavyweight Champion. He should beat Batista on Raw. Fuck no. That's never going to happen. So why the hell is Magnus your World Heavyweight Champion? Ridiculous. Anyways, the WWE Network. Wow. Big, huge. It's live now, and it's amazing what I hear. I'm missing it. I'm missing out. So I hope it doesn't fizzle out and go away, because that's what I'm afraid of before I get to watch it. Can't wait to see. So amazing. And I kind of thought it was like people aren't really harnessing how big this really is. You can type up any wrestler's name and it'll come up like Raw matches, SmackDown matches. I don't think you can go. I could be wrong. Somebody's probably going to correct me down below. I don't think you can go and say, well, I just want to watch an episode of Raw randomly. You have to pick, you have to put people's names in order to get that match to come up. So if I want to watch a JBL match, yeah, fuck, that'll never happen anyway. It'll come up with a bunch of JBL matches that were on Raw and SmackDown and pay-per-views and things like that. And vice versa, anything. They say that there's a lot of guys that are on there that will come up when you go to search for them, but there's no matches under them yet. So there must be still some library stuff that they haven't added to it, or they're working on it. Maybe they're going to rotate them in and out, but I don't think they're going to rotate them in and out. I think they're just working on getting the library cataloged and put on there, because it's really just, it's amazing what they're going to do with this, and it's just so awesome. I honestly think that they're going to end up evolving this, and there's going to be changes to it eventually, to where you only get to watch so many videos, like a month. I could see that being maybe the case. You can watch so many videos a month, and one of the videos so many videos will count for watching the pay-per-view, and there'll be like different packages involved with the WWE Network, to where you add the pay-per-view segment to it for like another $10. Because I think $20 a month would be actually a pretty damn good deal for that, and to get basically you're paying for the pay-per-view for $10 a month. That, or they maybe add like $5 extra. You get the pay-per-view or something like that they can't afford to do it. But for the first year, maybe they'll announce that it's going to be the pay-per-views are free, but next year it's going to go to $5 extra for the pay-per-view, which is going to be a pretty damn good deal. If you're home on a Sunday, which I'm not home on a Sunday, so it's not really going to play into my favor of having it. Whatever I said, I said flavor. Anyway, that's all I got to say. WWE Network, I'm craving to get it. I'm waiting for the money to get it, to order it, to have it, at my disposal. But definitely, can't wait to get it. Let me know your comments down below, everything I talked about today in Total Wrestling Madness. And definitely, comment down below. Make comments. What do you think I'm absolutely ridiculous? Do you think Magnus should be TNA? I don't even know. I can't even talk anymore. I just need to end the video. Do you think Magnus should be TNA World Champion? If you think he should, oh my God, what the hell are you thinking? Anyways, keep on rocking. This has been Brad Tragick and Total Wrestling Madness.